Cultivating Childhood Wellness Through Gardening, a training brought to you by Wisconsin Nutrition, Physical Activity, and Obesity Program, and Community Groundworks. Chapter 3, Growing Food with Kids, featuring selections from Got Dirt, a garden toolkit for implementing youth gardens. Free copies for download are available on the Wisconsin Department of Health Services website at www.dhs.wisconsin.gov. What is one of the best ways to connect kids to healthy food? Gardening. When kids plant, tend, and harvest fresh produce, they learn about healthy foods with all their senses. When a child plants a seed in the ground, they form a bond with the food that sustains them. A youth or children's garden should be tended by kids as much as possible. Have kids plant most of the seeds and seedlings in your garden. It may take more time and patience, but kids' skills will grow along with the plants. Planting seeds also offers a wonderful opportunity to teach skills like measuring in a real-world context. In a kid's garden, young people can take part in every step of growing food. Encourage kids to try to learn from mistakes and to have fun. Help them feel that the garden is their garden by letting them explore and experience nature. The lessons kids learn in the garden will last a lifetime. Seeds are a great place to start learning about food. You can grow seeds in pots on a windowsill, in trays in a classroom, or in the ground outside. It's important to buy good seeds from a trusted seed company. Good seeds grow into stronger plants that can fight off diseases and pests. Buy seeds early in the spring for the best choices. Seeds don't store well, so only get enough for one season, and share extras with another garden group. Test the viability of your seeds before planting by placing seeds on a moistened paper towel. Insert into a plastic bag or put on a foam tray. Healthy seeds will sprout. There are lots of kid-friendly crops, like chocolate tomatoes, rattlesnake beans, and rainbow carrots. Starting seeds indoors is exciting for kids, especially when it's too cold to plant a garden outside. Don't start your seeds too early, especially tomatoes. Most annual vegetables and flowers should be started inside about 6 weeks before the last frost in your area. Late March or early April is a common time to start seeds indoors in Wisconsin. To start seeds, you will need containers, seeds, and a soil mix. You can buy seeding trays or make pots from egg cartons, eggshells, paper towel rolls, cereal boxes, or newspaper. Be creative. Reusable containers, like these yogurt cups, can also be used for starting seeds in your classroom. Remember that seeds don't like to be soggy. Make sure there is a hole at the bottom of your pots. For the best results, you should use a special seed starting mix. A seed starting mix has a finer texture than soil and is free of weeds and diseases. You can buy seed starting mix or make your own from peat moss, perlite, and clean compost. There are lots of recipes online and in books. It's fun for kids to blend the ingredients and add some water. The mix should be moist, but not wet before planting seeds. Fill your containers or trays with the seed starting mix. Gently press the soil and smooth it off with your hands. Containers should be full and level. If you're using small containers or pots, set them on a cookie sheet or tray. Check the seed packet for information such as depth to plant seed. Using your finger, a pencil, or a crayon, make a small hole in each pot. For small seeds, drop 2 or 3 seeds into each hole. For big seeds, like pumpkins, only put 1 seed in each hole. Be careful not to plant too deeply. Check the seed packet to learn what each kind of seed needs. Cover the seeds with some seed starting mix to finish. It's important to label what you plant. Kids can use wooden or plastic tags, popsicle sticks, or even mini blinds to create labels. Young children can make labels with colors, pictures, and symbols. Older kids can learn about plant codes or scientific names. And don't forget to put the labels in the containers as soon as the seeds are planted. Seedlings look really similar when they start to grow. To water your seeds, use a spray bottle and gently mist the soil every day until the seeds sprout. Misting the seeds is a great opportunity to bring children of all ages into the process. Kids are great at misting. You can also let the pots or seed trays soak up water from the bottom. To help keep their environment humid, cover the seed trays loosely with plastic but make sure the seeds are not soggy. Be patient. It can take seeds 1 to 3 weeks to begin growing. As soon as you see sprouts, take off the plastic covers and move the seedlings into light. If your seedlings are growing by a window, rotate the trays often so the plants don't bend in one direction. Seedlings usually need to be watered daily, but don't water them too much. Check your trays or containers every day and add water if they feel dry. Plants also need moving air to grow sturdy stems. Turn on a fan by the seed trays or gently pet the seedlings to help them grow strong. Proper light is critical for seedlings. A sunny windowsill can work for seedlings, but the plants may get tall and leggy because the sun in spring is weak. Seedlings will grow better with bright light, like the tube light shown here. To grow sturdy plants, keep the light just above the seedlings. When the weather is right, it is time to get your seedlings ready for the garden. They need to toughen up before they are transplanted. This process is called hardening off and helps young plants adjust to life in the great outdoors. A week or two before seedlings move to the garden, put them outside in a sheltered spot. Avoid harsh afternoon sun and wind. Leave the plants outside for an hour or two on the first day. Add an hour each day until they are enjoying the same amount of sun they will get in the garden. The first couple of nights, bring your seedlings inside. On the third day or so, they should be ready to spend the night outside unless temperatures drop to freezing. If you buy plants from a farmer's market or nursery, they should be ready to plant, but it is always a good idea to ask, when is it time to plant outside? Use a planting calendar to learn when each vegetable should be planted in your area. You can find this information online at your extension office or in gardening books. How much space do plants need? Seed packets tell you how close to plant seedlings and how much space to leave between rows. Use a measuring tape and a trowel to dig holes for your plants. Dig each hole about 2 times the size of the seedling container. If you have compost, add a handful to each hole to give the seedlings a boost. Gently take a seedling out of its container, loosen the roots, and set it in the hole. Cover up the roots with the soil using your hands. Most seedlings should be planted at the same depth that they were growing in the container. You can also plant seeds right into the garden. This is called direct seeding. Read the seed packet for directions or ask an experienced gardener to help. Think about how many rows of crops you want to plant. Use a trowel or stick to make straight lines in the soil for planting the seeds. Show kids how to plant the seeds and how far apart to put them. Kids can work from each side of the row at the same time. It is a good idea to leave the whole row uncovered until the seeds are planted. Double check the spacing, then cover up the seeds with soil. Be sure to give seeds and seedlings a good drink of water after planting. Kids love to water plants, which is good because successful gardens need plenty of water. Most vegetables need 1 inch of water per week. Soil moisture depends on temperature, wind, and soil type. Add a simple rain gauge in the garden to track the rainfall each week. If it rains an inch or more, then you probably don't need to water the garden that week. If you're not sure, stick your finger in the ground. If the soil feels damp, then there is no need to water. Remember that plants in pots and containers need much more water than plants in the ground. Check containers every day to be sure plants have the water they need. It is best to water in the morning. It is also best to water vegetables only once a week, soaking the soil down 5 to 6 inches. Deep watering helps the roots grow strong. Avoid light sprinkles of water. This causes the roots to stay near the top of the soil and more vulnerable to stress. Show kids how to water the plant's roots, not the leaves. This conserves water and helps reduce diseases that splash up from the soil. For school gardens, a drip irrigation system with a timer might be helpful. This system ensures that your garden gets enough water when school is not in session. A thick layer of mulch helps keep the soil moist. Mulch also blocks weeds, keeps soil in place, and adds nutrients. Some good mulch options include seed-free hay or straw, grass clippings from untreated lawns, and shredded leaves. Newspaper can also be used. It's fun to have a hay stack in the garden if you have the space. Kids can pull apart hay bales with their hands or use garden forks to make a loose and airy pile. Now the hay is ready to use anywhere in the garden. Floating row cover, a light fabric made for gardens, protects young plants from pests and frost. Sometimes you may have too many seedlings in one place. Here, sprouts are too crowded to thrive. Kids can help thin them out so they have room to grow. Remove extra plants when they are still small. Show kids which plants are weeds and pull them out too. Weeds compete with your plants for water, light, and nutrients. They can attract unwanted insects and diseases to your garden. Garden paths help direct traffic through the garden. With wood chip paths, you won't need to mow and weed as much between garden beds. To make wood chip paths, put down thick cardboard and spread wood chips on top. Overlap the cardboard pieces to keep down weeds. Add more layers of wood chips as needed. Kids of all ages love to move wood chips. Spruce up your garden with art. Kid-made signs add color and character to your garden and let people know what is growing. Plant flowers on the edges of your vegetable beds. Flowers add beauty and attract pollinators and beneficial insects to your garden. Bees and butterflies love zinnias. Ask kids to be a scout for garden pests. Once identified, they can help pick off insects that destroy crops, such as Colorado potato beetles. Some plants like tomatoes, squash, and beans need support structures. A fort with binding crops gives kids some shade and plants a place to grow. Everyone loves harvest time. The Got Dirt Toolkit and other garden books describe when and how to harvest crops. Add a farm stand to your program and encourage kids to take home fresh fruits and vegetables. You can grow produce to give to a food pantry or sell at a neighborhood farmer's market. Celebrate the harvest. Host a special meal in the garden with kids, families, friends, and neighbors. After the summer harvest, try planting crops that grow into the fall. Kale, lettuce, spinach, and collard greens like cooler weather. Ask your local UW Extension office, garden center, or a master gardener for advice on fall crops and planting dates. They will be happy to answer any of your gardening questions. Garlic is the last crop to plant before putting the garden to bed for the winter. It's usually planted in late October around Halloween. Break garlic heads into cloves, then plant each clove root side down, about 6 inches apart in straight rows. Cover the cloves with soil and add a thick layer of hay or straw. Green garlic shoots will appear in the spring, but garlic heads won't be ready to harvest until July. At the end of the growing season, hold a community work day to put your garden to bed for the winter. First, harvest your crops. Next, remove stalks, roots, and annual plants from the garden. Put away garden signs, stakes, trellises, tomato cages, and tools. This is a good time to add more compost and a thick layer of hay or straw on your garden beds. Add another layer of wood chips to garden paths. Dig out weeds and remove diseased plants from the site. Keep a record of your planting plan so you can rotate crops to a different spot in the garden next season. Rotating crops helps keep your soil and plants healthy.